but I heard a whisper in the silence say, don't you know your light can still find its way, still find it.
That's right. Storms don't mean it's over. Now they wash you clean. What you thought was broken's just the space between the end of pain and a brand new dream. I'm catching my second wind. Come on. I can feel it. Oh, yeah. I rise again. I rise again. From the ashes, from the pain. I rise again. I fall, but I stand taller than before. Chains don't hold no more. I found grace in the places I fell apart. Now hope's tattooed on my heart. I rise again. Come on now. Lift me higher. We ain't done yet. I've been down bad, yeah. Shadows talk loud. But I'm built for the comeback. Watch me turn the crowd. Every scar's a signature. Proof that I'm free. My reflection's redemption. Staring back at me. Turn it round after line 2. Free after line 3. Every no was a lesson, every loss was a seed. Now I bloom through the concrete. Faith is my creed. Miracles don't whisper, they roar indeed. They roar indeed. Say it loud. I rise again. I rise again. I rise again. The ashes from the pain. I rise again. I stumble, but my
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? This thing's loud today. Let me turn this down. What's up? It's your girl Super. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody that Super is on everywhere. Share this everywhere you can share it. Every Harvey group, every politic group, anywhere on your page, everywhere, anywhere you can share it. Today we are doing the Harvey meeting recap from Monday's meeting. Before I get started, and we do have a special guest with us from the community of Harvey. I told you I wanted to start doing recaps with the with people from the community, right? Because it's about Harvey. And they have a vested interest, and we just need to get their thoughts and hear what they think about, what is happening at these meetings. Before I get started, I want to make one announcement before I get started speaking to everybody, and then we move into what we need to move into. I want to announce that the alderwoman of the second ward, Colby Chapman, she is having a ward meeting on Wednesday, March the 18th. So next Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. at Transformation United Methodist Church at 15446 South Lexington in Harvey, Illinois. I will post this flyer with the information on it in the post on the community page of my channel so that you all will have this information and so that everyone in the second ward can attend their ward meeting. And I'm sure she would not care if people from other wards come, just so you can get information, right? Because information is power. And you need to know what's going on in Harvey, because sometimes transparency is not so transparent. So the alderwoman of the second ward will be going over things like the acting mayor and the acting clerk. She'll be going over fees and fines. She'll be going over city hall hours. She'll be going over it says gov pilot submissions. She'll be also going over resolutions and ordinances from the first quarter, and the Broadway Improvement Project, the bills list from December 2025 to March of 2026, and then there'll be an open discussion for you to be able to have questions and all of those things. Thank you, Tracy. Let me get speaking to everyone that in this. Hey, Wyoming, my favorite guy. Thank you for being here. Hey, Jim C. Hey, Renee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And hey, Alley Cat. What's up, Dave Bryson? Thank you for being here. All my mods, thank you for being here, making this a safe place for everyone to express their opinions, views, and chat. Tracy Newman, how are you? Thank you for swinging in with like number 3. Hey, Conscious, what's going on? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Keep on doing what you are doing and informing the community. All right. So, with that being said, we are going to get this conversation started talking about this recap. So let me bring in the special guest that we have with us today. These scenes, hold on a second. Woo! Listen, it's the Chapelle show. It's the Chapelle
Hey,
show.
everybody. Hey, what's going on?
Listen, I'm trying to give you some theme music. Chapelle show. It is the beautiful and wonderful library trustee of the Harvey Library. It is Chapelle Hooks and your local Harvey activist, longtime Harvey resident of 52 years, 53 if God say the same. What, next month? Okay.
No,
And
in actually July.
in July. Okay.
July.
In she'll be a Harvey resident for 53 years. We want to welcome you to the AITQ platform. Thank you for coming on for the recap today. It's always great to have the community's opinion about these recaps. And I know that you didn't get the opportunity to attend this meeting because of your work schedule.
Yeah.
However, you are normally at the meetings when you can attend them. And I want to personally say that because I do attend the meetings as well. Before we get started with this recap, we are going to what up, Javar? I'm going to preface this broadcast by saying we are not going to be talking about like just negative things, but we are going to point out some important things that you need to keep an eye on. I do want
Mhm.
to start with some positive things that has happened since the change of leadership, right? I want to say that Shirley has begun to take meetings with each alder person, which was not happening before. There were only select alder people who were able to speak with the leadership previous to the new acting mayor. So she is taking meetings with every alderman in every ward. So I do consider that a win and a plus for the community, especially if your alderman is in those meetings advocating for your ward and trying to get things done in your ward. So I do commend Shirley for that. I do believe the second thing from my sources that Aldermanic reimbursements have been reinstated. So we will stop hearing Tracy saying he just want to know when he gonna get his money.
Hey, Paul.
Okay,
Mhm.
so Ward 4, you should be seeing more things to come from Tracy Keys because now he is going to be getting his automatic reimbursement. Okay. So
Yep.
that also makes you think like what was happening before? How come he can get it now under the acting mayor, but he couldn't get it previously? These are all things that you just need to be thinking in your mind. Who was really the problem? Okay. Who
Mhm.
was really the problem? Because if things can happen now that were not happening previous to now, the question is why? Okay. So
Yep.
that's a plus. Um, also, there has been a lot more discussion when topics are being voted on.
Yeah.
There's been a lot more discussion. There's been questions asked, as you can see from both sides. I'm not going. I mean, bar Edith Bunker because she don't ever have nothing to add to the conversation. The rest of them are carrying on positive conversations and comments when it comes to these resolutions and ordinances and grants and things that are now being put on the table. You should also
Mhm.
be asking yourself, why are those conversations now happening? Okay.
Mhm.
Um, so those are a lot of the positive things that I can say. And one more last positive thing before we get into the rough side of the mountain, um, is that the acting mayor has now started to reach out beyond the borders of Harvey and is asking other mayors to help Harvey, right? They have now considered agreement between Harvey and the city of Markham to pick up the dumping trash that is around Harvey. And the mayor of Markham, who is Roger Apawa, has agreed. And just yesterday, they went out and picked up trash in the sixth ward. I know that because the sixth ward alderman stopped for a photo op. Now I can't tell you that they picked up everything. And I would tell some people that spoke out against the sixth ward alderman to check your area because your area probably still has trash because we all know that he is petty. So I'm just saying check your area because baby doo wop, he's very petty. So
Mm.
he
Oh
may
Lord.
may have told them to skip you and then going to get in a meeting and lie and say the trash is picked up. We'll get into that anyway because that was a thing in this last meeting. We'll get into that. So those are the positive things that are happening in Harvey. Lots of talking going on. Lots of consideration is going on.
The treasurer's
Chapelle,
report.
what? Oh, yes. Treasurer's report is another positive. That young lady has gotten her voice back and she has begun to speak. I didn't bring up her video from today, but at the meeting on Monday, she brought up to the acting mayor that they needed to revise the resolution for signatures on the checks because I believe they still say Chris Clark. Now, the interesting thing was the acting mayor didn't think so, which I'm not understanding because if the man allegedly is not here, then he can't be actively signing any checks. So,
Hmm.
but if they have, let's say, the comptroller as one of the signers, then he can sign and it's still moving forward. But I'm with the treasurer. They should legally get those things in order now that Shirley has been voted the acting mayor. Everything should be going.
It should be two. It should be two signatures. It never should be one signature. It should always be two.
Correct. But those are things that we are slightly in the dark about, right? We don't know, you know, um, what is happening in that area. There was a resolution. I hadn't been able to find it as of yet, but I will keep checking to see if they did actually pass something like that. Because they are still talking about things that they did in 2023, and we are now in 2026. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, and there should be. But I noticed that every municipality out here does things very differently. From different
Yeah.
from city to city. Things are ran differently. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So we are going to start with public comment today. We are going to start with a gentleman that resides in the second ward under Alderperson Colby Chapman. So we are going to hear, and let me just say something because I'm a little ticked off today because, and I just want to warn people, right? You need to listen with your own ears. I don't care if I say something on here. Go back to the video and view it for yourself. The one that resides on the city page, okay? Because I don't want anybody to be like, oh, well, Super said this. No, Super didn't say it, okay? Super didn't say it. Go look at the video, okay? There's a video. There's the meeting, and I think it was the February 23rd meeting. Or no, it was the February 9th meeting where it was explained that this gentleman, this commenter that you see on this screen, sued the city of Harvey for not answering his FOI. However, it was revealed that $5,500 was what the city had to pay, but that he received $0. The only
Mhm.
people that got paid were his lawyers. He just wanted his FOI and he had to sue to get it.
Yep.
They took a whole entire year to answer his FOI. So it wasn't like he asked for a FOI last month. He waited his 5 days and they didn't answer. And so he hired a lawyer. No, it was a whole year that they
Mhm.
did not answer his FOI. So he hired a lawyer in order to get it answered. Anybody can do that. It is not just relegated to him. There are FOI
Mhm.
lawyers out here that guess what? They'll take your FOI case and you don't have to pay anything, and they know they're going to get paid on the back end. So you can do the same thing that he did if they don't answer your FOI in a timely manner.
Mhm.
It is something that's
Yep.
open to everyone. Okay. And he did that so that he could get his answer. He got no money. So the people that's out here running around saying, "Oh, he sued the city. Oh, he gave money
Mhm.
from the city. The city's already distressed. He doesn't care about the city." No, the city don't care about you. Because if
That
they
part.
cared about you, they would answer your FOI in the proper amount of legal time that they have to do so. They can even ask you for an extension right down to the last day. So if they get to the fifth
Mhm.
day, at 4 o'clock p.m., they can send you an email that says we need an extension of another 5 days. And guess
Mhm.
what? You don't get to complain about it. You just have to sit there and wait the extended 5 days.
Yep.
So no, the city don't
Mhm.
care. The city don't care about you because if they cared, they would answer the FOIA in a timely manner. And I don't want to hear about a shortage of staff. I don't want to hear about a shortage of time, right?
Hmm.
Because everybody working on time constraints. Okay,
Mhm.
everyone is working on time constraints. He can sue again, can he? Yes, he can. He can
Yeah.
sue again and again and again and again if they don't answer his FOIA in a timely
Yep.
manner. Yes, he
Yep.
can. As
Yep.
anyone can. It's not just him,
Uh-huh.
anyone.
Mhm.
Anyone. I want to make that clear. I don't care about the shortage of people in the office. Guess what you better do? You better get your coffee before you get there, and you better get your ass in gear when you get to work and get to answering them FOIs.
Yep.
Because if you got 4 hours and you got 5 days to do it, you really don't have an excuse because you got 4 hours each day up until the fifth day that you can ask for an extra 5 more days.
Mhm. Mhm.
This really comes down to organizational skills. Prioritizing what you need to get done. Hey, this FOIA is due in 2 days. We need to get this out. This FOIA is due in 3 days.
Mhm.
This out. This is next. This one is 4 days. So we'll do that one tomorrow. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't want to hear that bullshit. Cause if you in there making over $100,000 a year, or if you're in there making $50,000 a year, you better get my FOIA answered, or I'll be
Mm.
suing too. I don't care if you have $0. That ain't none of my business. If you care
Um,
about the city, get the FOIAs answered.
what you got? What you got a chief of staff for?
I
What you
mean,
got? What you got a city administrator for? What you got a clerk for?
If it goes to the clerk office, it's 2 clerks, a clerk now and a deputy clerk. And guess
Mm-hmm.
what? They should be putting pressure on whatever department the FOI was for. So if it was for the building department, each one of them every day should be saying, "Where my information?" Because the FOI is doing 3 days. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
that? FOI is doing 3 days. I need my information because guess what? If we have to pay this man's lawyer, that money gonna come out your department budget. Period.
And that's right, Renee. That was a year ago when they were fully staffed, so there was no excuse.
That
You're
part.
right.
That part.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see anybody out here in these social media streets pushing lies, telling lies, then you go ahead and tell the truth. We all have to start being advocates for each other.
That part.
We have to start being advocates for each other and saying, no, 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 no. I don't care if you don't like the person.
Mm-hmm.
The truth should be the truth. You
Yep.
don't like the truth? Because that's what you're saying when you don't speak up for the truth. You don't like the
Mm-hmm.
truth. That's what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay? When I see it, I'm going to tell you about it. I'm saying, now quit being messy
Mm-hmm.
and pushing these lies. That man didn't receive not $1.
Shirley said it anyway. So
She did.
she said it.
She said it in an open meeting. She said his lawyers got the money.
Mm-hmm.
You know I got to be laughing.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start with Ryan's comment, and then we're going to hear from Chapelle about Ryan's comment, and we're just going to keep the conversation. Let me see. I'm going to make sure I can hear this video. Okay, y'all, we get ready to start with this gentleman who lives in the 2nd ward. Did I press the play button?
Nope.
Hold on. And now we're playing. Now this thing is playing. Who getting ready to play? Somebody pray rebuke the devil. He busy on this broadcast today. We're playing. Hold on, let me get it. Let me do it. Because I feel like if I don't. Oh. Okay, there you go.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ryan. I just had a few comments. I really think we should be having our public comment before the voting, as this is not totally pointless, but I mean, we're not able to give any feedback on what you're voting on. So I think that order seems to, it should be changed. Also, I have been advocating for the aldermen to vote no on all of these ordinances until the books are open to the public and our essential workers are rehired. You're asking our firefighters and police regularly to rely on the sheriff, and especially the firefighters. I mean, the level of disrespect that you're giving, all of you, council, especially the mayor, to neighboring towns is immense, and they will never complain. These guys are and girls are the best of the best. You'll never hear them complain. They will give their life to save you from a burning building. But behind closed doors, they're really pissed because they're tired. Dalton, South Holland, Phoenix, Riverdale, all these other towns, Tinley Park, they're fighting our fires for us. That's not right. You need to cut your salaries and rehire these essential workers. The CDBG grant, I said, why would I say no to that? What did you do with the past CDBG funds? You got grants for fire hydrants? We got a few installed, but you've gotten several of those grants the past few years. Where did the money go? Did somebody buy some houses in Florida with them? Or, where'd they go? They certainly didn't go to Harvey, because the city looks like crap. The salt. I'm so glad that my alderwoman spoke up. She asked the right question. What happened to the money used for last year's salt? We got money for it to buy a whole bunch of salt. So where did the money go? Again, was someone going to a strip club or something with it? Or did they actually buy the salt? Oh, we wouldn't know because the books aren't open to the public. We don't see any receipts or invoices or anything. Oh, see, that's why we need those books open. This new day, this is your chance. A new day, a new day. Also, regarding the Illinois law, as far as the appointment of the clerk, I submitted a FOIA request. The city said there was no resignation letter handed in by the former clerk. And Illinois law says that resignation should be in writing. So my question is, we need to legally clarify. Is that resignation legal? And is the new clerk legally appointed? That cannot be verbal. And if I FOIA the city and they say there's no letter, that's a problem. I want to end with, there was supposedly an alleged murder at 157-15 Willard in the mayor's own ward, March 4th this week. I'm told by an anonymous source the victim was a 50-year-old black male. The suspect was in red, black, or Latino male. And then the next day, there were 40+ shots fired nearby in retaliation. So are you going to solve that? Are you going to tell us about it? I mean, you pay taxes, right? I pay a lot of property taxes. Are you going to actually solve the crimes? So, let us know what's going on with that.
All right, Ryan.
Okay, Chapelle, what do you think about the points that Ryan made?
All of them are valid, and all of them are great points. Let's go back to the CDBG money, right?
Right.
Now, a lot of people don't know the history about that. Back when Clark and Whittington and Shirley Jawinski and Lamont Brown were all sitting alderpersons under the Kellogg administration. They turned down that money. They would not approve that money. They missed all those meetings. They said no to everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now, once he got in, they start getting the money. And of course, you don't see where it's going, right?
Right.
So don't you think if the money was there, they would have had a lot more done in Harvey, with that money, because that's what the money is for. The money is for improvements and things like that inside of the municipality. So that lets you know that something's not right with that. Like he said, where's the money going? There's no account. There's nothing being shown. They won't open the books. Now, let's go to with Rosa resigning as the clerk. Now, since he FOIA'd it and it shows that there was no resignation letter, then how could the acting clerk be legal? They're not following the law. They have old girl, what's her name, Carol Ann or whatever her name is, that's mysteriously, just happened to be appearing all of a sudden now. Before, she was afraid for her life to come to the meetings. She stopped coming. But she's not even correcting them on the law. She's actually agreeing with them, allowing them to break the law. And this is what we pay for, what, $300 an hour for her to sit and do that?
Yeah, because now we got Chicken Little. We got Chicken Little instead of her.
She done moved back again, huh?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. But everything he's saying, he's bringing up great points. I mean, my thing is, why all of a sudden now, Rosa, you popping up at the meetings? You couldn't even come to the meetings when you were the clerk. Couldn't come to the meetings.
And was before time this time, like for this meeting and the last meeting.
Right. So how all of a sudden you feel like coming when you acting as if you're not the clerk no more? It's just so much wrong that it's hard to just focus on anything because you all over the place. They just doing so much wrong that it's all over the place, right?
Right.
But Ryan be hitting them. He be hitting them hard, and they hate that he's on top of them, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, that's why he get the violations with his properties and things like that because they try to break you. They try to do things like that to break you. You know.
Try to make you be silent.
Yeah. And what's crazy is like I said, I've been going through it for the longest. Ever since when I when I ran for Fifth Ward in 2019, I was getting all that done to me. People was busting my car windows out. People was breaking in my cars. They were dumping garbage in my yard. I mean, I had all type of stuff happen. You know,
Mm.
so I know I've been there. That's why I stand the way I stand and what I stand for because I've been there. I've been in the line of fire. You know, um, so with Ryan bringing all this stuff to the forefront and trying to keep us aware. That's number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see how anybody could not believe what he's saying. Um, because everything that he's saying is foiable, right?
Yes.
And you can look it up. All this stuff is foiable and you can look it up. So I don't understand the problem with some of the people acting as if what he's saying is a lie, which we already know who those people are. We're not even gonna mention them, but we know who they are. And man, I don't know. Look, I wasn't there because man, I'd have been up there talking. But yeah.
Now, a couple of things from me with Ryan's comment. The first one is about the CDBG grant. If it's a grant, we know that they have to keep meticulous accounting, right?
Mm-hmm,
And it has to
mm-hmm,
be reported under the grant. Now, there were
mm-hmm.
several lies that were told in this meeting. You're going to hear them in another video. I believe his name is Rick. He says, "Well, this rock salt comes out of the motor fuel tax money."
Rick Suppet.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
CDBG grants do not get relegated to motor fuel tax unless that's what the grant says. Unless they say this is motor fuel tax, it has to go into that pot.
Pot.
It
Mm-hmm.
specifies what pot that it goes into. Otherwise, it goes into the general fund. So it can be
Mm-hmm.
literally used for anything, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's supposed to be used for infrastructure, streets, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe that they are telling the truth about these CDBG grants, right? Because they could be for anything, and they just telling you that they for streets and stuff. But it could be for anything or any department. Literally, we don't know because we haven't seen any paperwork up on the website telling us, hey, we received the CBDG grant and this is what it was for specifically. Here's the paperwork. Right?
Oh, you ain't gonna get it.
Right. I'm just saying other cities do. Other cities post
Mm-hmm.
that stuff on their website for you to go through the paperwork so you can see. Joliet is one of them. They post their whole packet. Some days it be 400 pages that they post to the website you can go through. And then they do what they call a workshop the day before the meeting explaining whatever grants and whatever money they got from the government, which is crazy to me, but that's what they do. So saying that, we only pay a little bit for rock salt, we get a very good. Okay, but what did you do with the 1,700 tons that you got? You said 1,700 tons. There is 2,000 pounds in a ton. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
do that times 1,700. What did you do with all that rock salt when it snowed the last time? I did something in Harvey. I volunteered and I did something in Harvey, and I get to Center Street, and that street was not even plowed. There was no salt nowhere.
My street wasn't plowed either.
So where are you using said salt? On Broadway? You dumping 1,700 tons of salt on Broadway? Because that seems to be the only street that gets cleared. That and Park Avenue. Those two streets are the only streets that seem to be getting tended to. Really. And 104th maybe. Because you coming up, towards Broadway. But
Right.
if we don't know where these monies are going, then people are going to question, especially if you can't see it being used. Like I
Right.
just don't see. I mean, potholes everywhere. You mean tell me you got this CDBG grant last year and it's still potholes everywhere? I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Okay, and then let's go to the clerk. Now, it is Illinois law that if the clerk resigns, she can do so via email, letting the mayor know. But to make it official, she has to make it official by writing a formal resignation letter, having it notarized, and guess what? It has to be sent via certified mail to the city and to all of the trustees or aldermen in y'all's case. So all of the aldermen have to receive the letter as well. Everyone has to be notified. Has to be done via certified mail. So she would have to send 2 envelopes that were certified. One to the mayor with his notarized letter in it, and one to the city addressed to the alderman with another notarized letter in it, so that it could be put into record. And then guess what? They would have needed to come to a meeting and accept her resignation in order to declare the seat officially vacated.
Vacated.
And then you can proceed with whatever you need to do to fill that seat.
Correct.
But we didn't see any of that take place. So, for me, if he void and they said that, that's definitely a problem. That's definitely, you need to contact the AG office and the inspector general and file a complaint type thing with your evidence from your FOIA that you asked for this, and they say they don't have any responsive records, but as of now, they have a new acting clerk. How? See, we got to start putting these things on paper. We can't just keep complaining about them. We have to send the complaints to the proper places, to the Attorney General's office and to the Inspector General of Illinois. They all have buttons that say complaint. You just simply need to go there and file it. That's it. Then they're going to send you a follow-up email letting you know they got it. Then they might send you a follow-up email and say, I need more information and this is what I need. And then you just give it to them. But how do you think we're going to get these things investigated from these other entities or hold the people that are in charge of these other entities accountable if we don't report it? So we have to report it. We have to report it. So, these things and then he talked about at the end, I don't know if you heard, he talked about a pew-pewing where a person was deceased, yet no information had been released to the public about, this happened and we're actively working or whatever, and I agree that when things like that happen, maybe they should, put something on the website or release a robocall so that people can be extra vigilant with their safety, in the area for whatever reason. All right, listen, we're going to the next comment. I like this because Chapelle was not at the meeting. I'm going to say this again. Chapelle was not at the meeting. So she is seeing these comments probably for the first time. So here we go with the next one.
Next is Glennis Jean Watson, followed by John Black.
Good evening. My name is Glennis James Watson. I'm a resident of the First Ward. Rod Blagojevich, Michael Madigan, Betty Lorraine Maltese, Edward Burke, Rita Condwell, Donald Lester. What do these names have in common? They are all state, Cook County, Chicago, or other municipality elected official government officials who were either indicted or convicted of criminal activity or in the course of official government business. Per IllinoisPolicy.org, Illinois is the second most corrupt state in the nation, according to the research by the University of Illinois Chicago. Unfortunately, the Southland, which includes Harvey, is not exempt from corrupt politicians and ancillary public officials. Recently, the Harvey World Herald published stories about local elected officials who are or have been investigated, indicted, and or convicted of unethical or downright criminal activity. Despite recorded malfeasance, some Harvey elected officials brazenly continue to run for office. And what I find mind-blowing is often they win. They get reelected. Harvey, we expect and we deserve high moral and ethical behavior from all of our elected officials, but especially our local elected officials, because they act as stewards of our public trust, they manage our community resources, and they set societal standards. When elected officials fall short ethically and morally, they betray the trust we bestowed in them when we vote. I was very disappointed in our interim mayor's comments after the last council meeting. Her Channel 2 News, you can look this up, she said, they quoted her as saying, acting Mayor Shirley Dwinsky defended her tie-breaking vote to appoint Janet Rogers as Harvey City Clerk, dismissing concerns over Rogers' past felony convictions by stating, the past is the past because it was expunged. Durinsky affirmed that she has no concerns regarding Rogers' fitness for the role, emphasizing we need to fill the position. First, expunged does not mean exonerated. Second, there were other candidates without such a background that could have filled the position. And herein lies the problem with electing people with questionable ethics. If they will devise schemes and cut corners in one area, why wouldn't they do the same in other areas? If they are openly blatant about their misconduct in public, what can they devise to do behind closed doors? We don't have to put up with this. We deserve better representation. This can only happen if good people run for office and good people vote for good people.
All right. Woo!
All right. What you think about Miss Glennis's comments?
Girl. Now, let's go back. Right? Let's go back.
All right.
I'm just gonna be straightforward. A lot of people don't know, but Janet Rogers has been a thief probably all of her life. Right? And then she married another thief. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
So and this is and I'm just, I'm just being 100.
Right.
I know the type of stuff that they do. You know, Janet was a lot of people don't know that the feds took her in for counterfeit money when she was a teacher at Bloom High School. A lot of people don't know that. That's because she was under Janet Thomas at the time. And then, of course, her mug shot when Lisa Madigan got her locked up for 6 months for stealing state funds. Okay. And then you got the chicken wing scandal. She was sitting as the president of the school board while all them chicken wings was being bought. So who was approving those bills lists? You feel what I'm saying?
Yes, I guess.
So this old lady goes and she ends up taking the rap for 1.5 million in chicken wings, and she only a lunch lady. They've been stealing them kids' monies for decades. I'm gonna say that, for decades. Okay. I'm a product of 152. My children are products of 152. My oldest son will be 36 years old this year. Okay. So I've been dealing with this 152 for a long time. And I know that these jokers is they thieves. And they do this stuff thinking that we are just stupid. Well, for one, see, she was able to do a lot of them was able to do what they doing because Frank Zuccarelli was helping them. That's number one. Okay.
Right.
Number
Yeah.
two, when the little girl Violet Singleton was killed at Whittier School, um, back here, what was that 3 years ago on the playground, the little
Yeah.
4-year-old coming down the slide got hit by
Yeah.
the foreign lady.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
The
gonna
what was
tell
the
y'all
drunk
this
driver? That was
because,
the drunk driver, right?
huh?
That was the drunk driver, the lady that came up on the playground in the
Well,
car.
she wasn't drunk. She was texting.
Oh, okay, and she was in the car, right? She was in the
Yep,
car.
she was in the car with her kids in the car. She went around the school bus and ran up on the curb and hit the little girl. Oh, I got the pictures to show. I went there the next morning and the school, I mean, they was digging up the playground. Not even 24 hours later, digging up the playground. Why would you do that when that should have been a crime scene? Why are you digging that up? Right?
Right.
So I asked the guy, I'm like, why, who told you to? He said the boss. She said, do it, we gotta do it. So what that tell you?
Mm.
Why would you dig up the playground?
Right.
And the little girl got killed.
Lord have mercy.
And we still haven't heard nothing from that incident. If Violet got justice or not. We ain't heard nothing from that.
Mm.
But I guess because Janet paid for the little girl funeral, the school, I ain't gonna say Janet paid for it, but the school paid for it. So they feel like, oh, it should be water under the bridge.
Mm.
No. And I was at that girl's funeral too. You know
Mm-mm.
what I'm saying? Janet got up there and gave her, oh, and I lost both of my kids. And I know how it feels.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
what? And of course, I'm petty too. I got
Oh,
up there and I spoke because I lost a child before. I buried a son. My son was only 12 days old, but I buried a son.
right.
And like I told her and her parents, Violet's parents, I don't care what nobody tell you. Your love for your child was the way, whichever way y'all had it, that was on, that was y'all's. Can't nobody get up here and tell y'all how y'all supposed to feel or anything, especially if they not giving you justice.
Right.
I don't care how pretty they made the funeral, and because that's a one and done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, she just clown. She's a clown, and then every year she throw big birthday galas. How? But you retire. I'm trying to figure out how a Joker that's retired can drive $130,000 Cadillac trucks and you got Harley Davidson trikes. You and your husband, y'all got multiple houses. I mean, I'm trying to figure this out. How y'all doing this on a retirement salary?
Mm. Very
Um,
interesting, especially in this economy with these taxes out here in Cook County.
exactly. And I'm just like, that's kind of strange. You know what I'm saying? And then for Shirley to say she don't have no worries. Why? Why you ain't got no worries? I
It's a lot
mean,
to be worried about, right, Chapelle? It's a
I
lot to
would
be
be
worried about.
I would be worried. Yeah, I'll be gone in a minute. No, that's my son. That's one of my sons. But I mean, like, I would be worried because at the end of the day, right? If a person showed me that they could steal state funds from the state,
Mm-hmm.
why would I want you in a position to see what's going on with the city funds,
I know that's right.
with the
I
local? Because you
mean,
stole the state funds. You stole state funds. So I'm trying to figure out, why are you in a position to see city funds?
right, because a pardon doesn't mean that you didn't do it. It means that the person that's pardoning you didn't care that you did it.
That part.
That's what it means. It doesn't
Yeah, I
mean
mean,
you didn't
you did it.
do.
You did it. You showed us you
Right.
stole. You did 6 months jail time, prison time. Let's stop saying jail. Prison time. You did that. Can you go and take that back? I don't care how many times you were pardoned, expunged, expelled, or whatever. It's still gonna be that you did time now.
It's gonna be that you did it. You did it. That if expunged don't mean you didn't do it either. It just means that it's something that doesn't have to linger on your record. Doesn't mean you didn't do it.
But she did it. She
I
did it.
mean, I
And
think
she did a whole lot more. She did a whole lot more. All these schools that they been knocking down. You
well,
really think?
she got
You really
pardoned.
think she got what?
She got pardoned, but then she turned around and did something else on the mosquito abatement board right after that, because that was
But,
after.
well, listen to this though. Even before the mosquito abatement, they were stealing money from the schools again, with the people that they contract to do lawn care. You know,
Mm,
those be they friends that they contract, and then they on the back end get the money. You know what I'm saying?
woof.
When they do the schools, the bidding process,
Mm-hmm.
those be they friends that they put in there, and they fluff up those invoices. And the first thing they say, well, you know, there was grant money. You just can't. What can you do to grant? Oh yeah, there's a way around everything, and y'all masters at it. Y'all fluff up those invoices, knowing good and doggone well the material y'all use be cheap, and the stuff break down and out in a couple of years. And then y'all say, well, we paid $9 million, and the school was probably built off of 100,000. You know what I'm saying? So
Wow.
it didn't just, that mosquito abatement was just something that was exposed. But all the other things that they've been doing, they've been stealing food. They've been stealing since the 90s. They've been stealing food. People don't talk about that though. They've been
Phew.
stealing food.
So do you think this is a career politician thing, or it's a character thing? Because for me, I feel like it's a character thing.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not.
it's definitely a character thing. She's just a freaking thief. That's it. That's it. She's a thief,
Well, Javar,
and will go to any extent to get what she wants.
I believe that people are going to any extent to get what they want, because it is a dog eat dog world out here now, and people do not care. They do not have any, compassionate thoughts, about anyone other than themselves. And Javar, to what Glennis was saying, uh, when are we ever going to get it together? When are we ever going to change? When we get out here and vote. When we get out here and vote, and we vote good people in. If you don't get out here and vote, guess what? The bad people who have their people that do vote, that's how they get in.
That's
Because
how they
we
stay
are
in. That's how they
that's
stay
how
in.
they get in and stay in because we are not voting.
Well,
Check
this is
the
the thing
voting
too.
record.
Let me say this too, Super. A lot of them buy their votes. A lot of them do that. See, a lot of people don't know about with the Rogers when Frank Zuccarelli was giving them 300 and 400 food boxes, delivering them to their garage, and they giving out food boxes to people. See,
Mm.
a lot of people don't know that stuff. Um, and a lot of people not gonna tell it because they were the ones recipients of those food boxes from their garage. You know, they giving out bikes, they giving out book bags, they giving out, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, how y'all having all these picnics, y'all having all these galas, y'all having all this stuff, and I mean, I'm trying to figure out where the money coming from.
They do say follow the money because that's that's the only thing you. That's how you gonna get your answers if you follow the money.
And then let's go back to the chicken wing deal, right? Where could you keep 11,000 cases of chicken wings? I'm trying to figure out what freezer you had them in
Me too.
because they definitely wasn't in no school freezers.
That's a lot
Nah,
of rules.
and I know that them had to be in somebody's business freezers.
Maybe some restaurants is what
Hmm,
you think.
hmm,
Wow,
hmm.
wow.
I mean, a lot of people are in cahoots. It looks like they're fighting each other and they're in-house fighting, but them jokers be buddies. They be in it together. You know, they like to destroy families. They like to do a lot of stuff. Families, reputations. They try to do all that stuff. They try to break people to keep them quiet. They try to, uh yeah, they try to do a whole lot of stuff.
Sad, sad.
So, I
But
mean,
Miss Glenn is she on to something? Good people have to vote in good people. Good people, we need to get out here and vote. We can talk and complain all we want to. We
mhm.
need to get out here and vote.
It's this too, right? The stuff is out here in people's faces. It's out here in your face. When you walk out, if you live in Harvey and you walk outside and you see nothing but dumping, abandoned homes, potholes in the street. I mean, dark streets, even darker alleys. What else is there for you to try to question? What is it for you to try to question? Like, why is this happening? You go to affluent communities and none of this is going on in these communities. I mean, as far as behind the scenes of them in-house fighting or whatever, I don't know. But what you do know is they're sticking together enough to see that their community is still looking good and
Right.
doing good.
I agree.
But here, these jokers is stealing so that they can live comfortable lives and skip the rest. But here it come campaign season, and they love everybody now. They love everybody.
Now
But
we
three
can get
years
something done.
ago,
Now we can get something done together.
exactly. Now, oh yeah, we go. Man, look, and I'm speaking as an elected official as well, right?
Hmm.
I've been out here even before I stepped into politics. If people can go on my page back 2013, 20, I was always that advocate on there trying to on social media and the internet trying to show people what was really and truly going on in the city of Harvey. You know what I'm saying? And that was under Kellogg. So people can't say, oh, she just doing that because it's Clark and no. I was doing it under Kellogg too.
Right.
I was going to those meetings and getting up at them podiums, going off on Kellogg too. Um, so it's like not only do good people need to vote, but people need to vote, period.
Right.
Because our turnouts are super low. That's
Yes.
why we can't get the governor to say anything. We can't get the AGs to say nothing. We can't none of that. We can't get none of that stuff because they don't care about our community because they don't have to worry about, making a dent in their votes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because enough people don't vote. It's not enough people voting. And
Yeah.
then they look at the fact that Harvey really doesn't have too many homeowners anymore. A lot of people are leaving.
Mm.
A lot of people are leaving Harvey. If they not leaving it, they dying out. And nobody's coming back to that home. Maybe the kids done moved away or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like people that I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? They kids left. They gone. I drive by, look at their houses, and it's either burnt down, abandoned, or them Indian people in there. You know what I'm saying? So we have to vote, period. Whether good or bad, you vote for or against. You need to vote, period. We got to
Right.
get the voting numbers up. We got to.
Register voters too. Everybody in your house that is of age to vote needs to be registered.
Yep.
In my household, it's me and my oldest daughter. She is registered to vote, and when Tuesday comes, I will leave my post when it's time for me to take my lunch break. Come back, get her so that she can vote.
Mm-hmm.
That's what'll happen. So we're gonna go
Mm-hmm.
to the next comment. The
Yep.
views and opinions expressed on this platform are that of the speakers. When I speak, then I'm speaking for me. So we're gonna go to the next comment because this was a great comment too. I'm interested to see what Chapelle thinks about this one.
Okay.
Next is John Black, followed by Michael S. Rome.
Good afternoon, City Council. I'm Mary Shakur. I'm speaking for John Black. I wanted to welcome the new interim mayor into her new position. Probably one of the biggest advocates for the City Council that you would ever want to meet. I do want to start by asking one question, Mr. Joyce. One of your first official duties was you and you selected aldermen sit outside of the development for Turlington Homes. In that development, there was a press conference and minimal press was there. Not a lot of members of the community and some of the members of the city council were missing. I felt a little bit motivated, and today I visited that development because I thought that maybe I could spend $200,000 on a home in one of the worst areas of Harvey with no infrastructure, no sewage, no anything, but we're building development in Harvey. So I wanted to talk to someone over there. And I was went down to the office on Dixie Highway, 18141, and what it was actually a day office, and it was an abandoned day office. And so Turlington Homes is being run out of an abandoned day office, and we gave this developer millions and millions of dollars in city funds to develop. I'm just questioning, did we vet this person correctly? Did we do the due diligence and investigate these developers before we did press conference announcing our partnership with the city of Harvey with this developer, did we even vet and check the criminal history of John Gruff and some of the other folks who were involved in this campaign? I think it's a bad look for the city council, especially the new interim mayor, to be standing in front of a project that wasn't properly researched or vetted. So I'm hoping that going forward that you guys can do your due diligence, really check these people out. And then prior to now, I think that pretty much you owe the community an explanation as far as who the developer is, why did they not meet with the public? Why is it that even when they did meet with the public, how did they get the contracts, who signed the contracts, how much money were they getting? Have these questions been answered? I'll yield. I got 40 seconds, I'll yield. I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna give 35 seconds. Look, we didn't answer, we don't need you speaking, I can't answer.
Right.
They can't.
Any answers? Any answers? No answers? Anything?
So community,
Nothing?
when we change targets, when we change the leadership, the folks here need to have a vetted interest in this community. And they haven't shown us that they're doing that. Now I see 2 aldermen who have shown us that. And they need to be the leadership of the future. But I would appreciate it that if the next week that you can answer that question.
All right, Chapelle. What you think about that? This
Yeah.
was in reference to the new development that is supposed to be taking place in your ward, as a matter of fact, on Turlington and 151st in that area.
Mm-hmm.
He said he showed up. He went to the office that's listed on the website, and it was an abandoned day office.
Mm-hmm.
And he felt like that the city should do their due diligence in who these developers are. And so what what are your thoughts on this development, since it's in or close to where you live? What do you think the effects of this development could be on your area? And some of those plots over there, the plots are in between homes. What do you feel about this development?
Well, like, I truly believe it's a money grab. It's a scam. Yeah, the sneaking of the deal and sliding them developers in without public knowledge, red flag, right?
Right.
They shoot, look who all involved. And then, you just look at the area, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because if y'all want me to, I can go drive over there right now, and we can go. I can show y'all the area right here on your live, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, because that's like right by me. I live on Turlington. I'm just,
I
let me
mean, I
see.
feel like there are several, unanswered questions about this development, right? The first being that there's an agreement that says that the developers are signing this agreement saying that there have been notices and hearings held with the public, which we
But
all
they got to
know,
make it look good.
which we all know didn't happen, because there should have been a listing on the agendas, where the minutes and agendas are, that this is a hearing for Turlington Homes. And there should have been a whole meeting set up for that and announced to the public. Just a lot of questions surrounding who these people are. There is a video on this platform about Turlington Homes, so you need to watch that if you haven't seen it. But also, who are the realtors or involved. Even if there's no realtors, there should be a realty lawyer. There should be a real estate lawyer involved in this as well, because we're talking about the buying and selling of property, right? And those people are specialized in the laws of buying and selling properties in Illinois, right? And the laws are very specific about purchasing homes, right? You have to either have a licensed realtor involved in you purchasing, a home, right? It just can't be anybody saying, "Oh, come and buy this home." Mind you, these are homes that have not even been built yet. So you don't have, like in the affluent communities where you have the models that you can tour, not available, in particular. There should be a home in process, right? But there are other things that need to be done. There needs to be surveying. There needs to be soil samples done. ComEd and Nicor Gas need to come out and they need to, mark the lines to show, where the lines are, so that in this development, no lines are hit and no services are lost to the other residents, right? Um, the soil
How do
testing is
I how
going to
do I
be,
turn my camera around?
let me see.
How do I turn
You
my camera around?
hold on.
Oh, okay, I see it. Let me
You
see.
got it? Okay.
Facing front.
Yeah, it
Can
should be
y'all
the
is
front
it
camera.
is it turned around?
Hold on one second.
Yep,
Let me
it is.
You got it?
So okay, I'm on 151st. So this is Little League Park. This is where they used to play baseball for the Harvey Little League.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So now this is the alley.
Okay.
This is the alley. This is the back of 151st in Turlington. That's the back alley. So
Now, these homes
you
listed on
see,
the website, they don't come built with garages. It says optional for those features. So,
so
there's
I'm just that you see this house, right?
uh-huh.
Okay. That's the sign about the Turlington homes coming soon, right?
Mhm. That's a corner house, right?
Yep, this is the corner
For
right
some
here.
for some of the styles that they listed, they have a ranch. I think it's the Prairie Ranch. The Prairie Ranch will only be able to fit on that particular property because some of the other properties are in between homes.
Well, and just know that these homes have basements, right?
Right.
Look at this. This across the street, other side of the street, Bando, right?
Right. Will they be tearing that home down? I don't know if that is one of the
I don't.
properties.
That might be one that they,
What's the
this.
address? I have I showed all of the addresses of the ones.
Let me see. What's the address on that house? Cross Street was 15103. And so that must be 151. That must be, I don't
Oh,
know. That might be O2 right there, the burnt up one.
okay.
So someone lives in that house. Um, it looks like that somebody live in that house, unless that's a bando. And you got this house. Now you got open field here. This is
Right.
open field.
Okay.
You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Now we come. You see the bando right there?
Yes.
Okay, you see a bando. Right now, let me switch. Go across. All that is open field. You see
Okay.
that?
Right.
You see the
And most
garbage in
of
the
them,
house.
they said it was vacant lot. So, this would coincide. There was only one property that they said had a tear down on it. And I think it was the one that they did the groundbreaking on.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only lot that had a home on it.
So you see all the garbage. Can y'all see the garbage and all that in the alleys?
Mm-hmm.
hmm Um, that's a bando right there. Now you got open field here, and this is the corner.
Okay. Yeah, so there would need to be soil testing done because these houses, some of them are close to 100 years old, at least 40, and they were using asbestos during that time. So they would need
Yes.
to test the soil to make sure that they're not disturbing anything and make sure that you know it's safe to build on them. So, those are
hmm
few questions about the development, have those things be done, but you have to also get permits. Permits have to be
hmm
applied for, have those things been done. But all in all, I feel like you need at least a model to see what type of workmanship, what type of craftsmanship you're going to be getting, right? That's what they do in the affluent neighborhoods. You can go and view the model homes, right? And then when they finish all of the construction, they even sell the model home, right? But at least
Yes.
you
Correct.
get to see the model home furnished in its office. They can make that their office so they won't be out of compliance, right? Make the
hmm
model home their office. They can let the people tour the model home and see what
hmm
they'll be getting. But they to me, circumventing having the meetings with the community, because these homes, lots of things on these homes are optional. So let's talk about the things that are optional. A garage, they said, is optional because they don't come with garages. Let me tell you what else they said was optional because I don't do no lying on people. Just gonna tell you right straight off the website what they said was optional. So if you go to the website and you go to let's go to the Prairie Ranch. Optional is a garage, landscaping, that's optional, that's gonna cost you more. On the Barclay, optional is a fireplace, a garage, and landscaping, and a front porch. All of this optional. So when they say optional, if you decide to add it, that means it's gonna cost you more money. It's gonna add to the value of their home. So if we starting at 180,000 just for the basis, just like a car, if you get a car that don't have electric windows and you got to roll your windows down, if you add electric windows, what that price ticket gonna do? It's gonna go up by $5,000. Watch.
hmm
You see what I'm saying? So it's just like that. So, I think having the conversation with the community about, are you trying to gentrify? Because if you do this, people that are not paying taxes right now because they're senior exempt could be thrown into paying taxes, because if this
Yep.
house sells above that $180,000 price point, they're going to be reassessing taxes in that area.
hmm
And the elderly are our most susceptible community. There are a lot of elderly out there, right? And
hmm
not going to be thinking, let me check let me see if I owe any taxes, because they haven't been paying them for so long because they were exempt, right?
hmm
Somebody says, Paul says, has anyone seen a contract between Turlington Homes and the city of Harvey? Yes, we have, Paul. I put it up on my video that is labeled Turlington Homes. It's actually labeled Turlington Homes. So yes, we have. And I actually have possession of said agreement between Turlington Homes and the city of Harvey. So yeah, we have it. Um, and so that's my concern. That is my concerns with the home. Not that Harvey doesn't deserve development. They do. They deserve development that makes sense and doesn't put a strain on the rest of the community, because taxes are going up so high and Springfield cannot even balance the state budget. You have to say in your mind, help or relief is not coming.
Mm-hmm.
While I want my community to look better, should we just be knocking down abandoned homes until we can get into the developing part, right? And then if we clean up the abandoned homes, then maybe will the big box stores like Jewel's, Walmart, who else? Trader Joe's, will they start looking at our community? Because now we have cleaned and torn down the abandoned homes, right? So now you just have clear space with no trash. You know, the other homes are looking nice. You know, they taking care of, you know what I'm saying? Should we just be starting in that vein and then moving, you know, to some development, you know, when it makes sense? So maybe we can attract at the same time we can develop. I mean, two things can be true at once, right? We can chew gum and walk at the same time, right? Because that's what we do over here. So maybe they, you know, maybe those things can be considered. You know, those things are the things that needed to be talked about at these community meetings and questions that the residents could have wanted to ask, right? You know, for me, that's some of the concerns that at least I have. I'm very concerned about the elderly in this community who have paid
Yep.
off their homes. They have paid off their homes and they qualify for the exemption. So now they don't have to pay any taxes. What is that going to do to them? What will happen to them?
I mean, what would happen to not only um to them, but what will happen to their generational wealth, right?
Yeah.
They pass on and they have something that they worked hard for and paid for, you know, proud to, you know, pass down to, you know, their kids or grandkids. What happened?
I mean,
Um,
you passing down something that you believe is paid for, but now there are taxes that are owed on it, you know, that are very high versus, you know, could be something minimal, you know. Yeah, what does that do to the generational wealth of that family? Those are the things I'm concerned about. I'm just mainly concerned about the elderly that are on a fixed budget in that
mhm.
and there are, you know, numerous of people like that. Um, let's go to the next comment. We got a few more.
Good evening, everybody. I go to the sixth ward. I'd like to explain, I would like some explanation on this program that we're getting on the Broadway reproduction program out here on Broadway. I think all of us here at one time or another have driven up Broadway, and we don't see where Broadway needs to be refitted. We think we've got other streets around this town that need to be refitted. There is a grant that is being escalated for $3.7 million. You're telling me that in the last meeting that we had at Thornton High School, that the state will request 35% of that back for us to get the street done? I think they need to relook at that program. As a program it is, it can be reallocated, redesigned, and do other streets that need to be done around here. The only thing you're gonna do with Broadway is make it look better for the municipal building, the building at the end of the block over here, and possibly the next block over. We don't need fiber optic cable in the town. We don't, and nobody here has fiber optic in the first place. Okay? It's the way that it is. Nobody has fiber optic in this town. Everything is off power lines for the cable. Next question, or the cameras that are being installed in the cities, or in the blocks. Who has the access to view them? Are they up and running at this point? We should have the right to know if they are up and running. How do we get access to them if we so want access to them? Besides calling the police at the last moment for that to happen. Okay. Over on Sibley, there is a bypass. The Metro project is not completed over there. There's a knockdown fence and it needs to be replaced. Or stitched up there, something to that effect. We're not getting any kind of results on this stuff. What we say is done is only half it done. People look at you got your own regular jobs. If you did half of the stuff that you do in your regular jobs, you wouldn't have them. So look at your city and look at the half-wit jobs that are being done. And then think to yourself, okay, did we earn a paycheck for this? Did we get what we were supposed to get out of it? I don't think so. I think a lot of us deserve better than what we got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that was Michael. I love me some Michael because
Where he from?
he lives in the 6th ward. He would be a great 6th ward alderman, and let me tell you why. He would be a great
See,
6th ward.
I don't know him.
He has a lot of knowledge when it comes to construction.
He looked like it.
When it comes to construction, he made a comment about fiber optic cable because when they had the forum meeting for the Broadway improvements, the engineer said that they were going to be laying fiber optic cable. And he said, for what? Nobody in this town has fiber optic cable. We've been fine without it and we don't need it.
There you go.
Like for me, he is very knowledgeable in these commercial construction things. So that if he was on the board, the alderman board, he would be voting no to all of this crazy spending of this money for stuff that you don't need. And that's what you need. Who's going to be looking out for your money and saying, this is not the best use of this money. He also talked about the Broadway improvement grant, saying, you need to look at this grant. Is that where the money should go? Should we even be worried about this grant? Because the only thing you're going to do is make Broadway look better from the municipal building to that new high rise that they built, and then up a little further to Park Avenue. And who is that benefiting? Nobody. While the rest of the streets still have potholes and infrastructure problems and water main breaks. And he is correct. But I believe he would make a very good 6th ward alderman, because he would be on top of them construction, grants and jobs and all of those engineers, all of this Calumet plumbing, all of these things you see on the warrant list that say they did work in some sort of street and it cost $50,000. Oh, he'll be like, let me see that invoice, and for what? And what type of work did they do? And I believe he would even go and inspect the work and say, see, this here is not even right. And you need somebody like that, on the board, not only for diversity, but just for the sheer knowledge that he has to make sure that at least in this construction area, we're not going to spend one dime that don't make sense. And you said you don't know him?
No, I don't know him.
Yeah,
I mean that's not a I don't.
Yeah, I don't think that's a diss to him. He just, I think now he feels more comfortable coming to the meetings because somebody that looks like him is in the seat. And let's just be honest, because this was a predominantly Black or African American dominated board, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Somebody is sitting in the seat that looks like him, in the seat of leadership. I think he felt comfortable. He's feeling comfortable enough to come and voice his opinion, right? Because that's how it works. We have to look at the flip side too. If we feel comfortable coming because the people look like us, he need to have some sort of comfort too, especially he lives in Harvey in the 6th ward. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that he's feeling more comfortable to come out because every time he gives a public comment, it is very targeted and it is very insightful. You find out a lot when it comes to these construction things that they are voting on. And he
Yeah,
just
he needs to speak a whole lot more often because man, what he just said blew my mind. I'm like, oh wow, like he know what he talking about.
you should have
And
heard him at the forum. You
I
should have heard
mean,
him at the forum. He was very good. Very good.
really?
Yeah.
He needs to. I mean, shoot, throw his hat in, and he need to run something because, or either if he don't feel comfortable being a politician, shoot, get Rick Seppi's job. You know what I'm saying? Try to
Right.
get that job.
Right. And I
Um,
feel like if they ever get the committees back and they're doing the economic development committees,
mm-hmm.
he should be on that committee. He should be on that committee and he should be the one seeing things that are coming in and going out for bid, right? Because he gonna look at it and say, mm-mm. I know
Mm-hmm.
he gonna look at that paper and be like, no, we don't need this, we don't need this. No, we don't need that. Since we don't need these things, can they take that money and do this, and this? Because that's what we actually need. You
So
see
he
what
probably come from a long line of construction workers and labor workers.
right, right. And so he is very, very knowledgeable in that area. And I think for me, I feel like there is a lot of in all of these communities, there is a lot of stealing going on in that construction area. Look at in Dalton how the contractor that was supposed to be doing the windows and the roofing, who is now in jail, went to jail, right? Because there was something funny going on with the money there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
it would be well to have someone like him on the as an alderman, and if not as an alderman, like you said, as the head of public works, because
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna be on that salt. He gonna be like, oh no, we don't need that much.
Mm-hmm.
He gonna be like,
Mm-hmm.
this, and I believe he would have a whole plan devised on what to
Already.
do, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
he live in Harvey.
Right.
For me, you have a lot of people who don't necessarily know the landscape of Harvey, making
Mm-hmm.
which I think is unfortunate for the residents, but fortunately for them, they have Michael in their community. And I think that he would be a great option. I think anybody that wants to run in 2027,
Needs to
you need
run.
to pick up your packets. I think packets are able to be picked up in July or August. I'm not sure which one, but
I want to say like August. I think
right,
it's
you need
August.
to pick up your packet, fill out your information, and turn it in and just run. Even if you say, I don't have any money to run, listen, do you see J. Cole going around this country selling his CDs out the trunk of his car? And it ain't no fancy car either. Start you a grassroots
Look,
campaign and just go
I
on
ran.
hard.
I ran on the budget in 2019. I ran on the budget in 2021. And in 23, when I ran for the library, I did not print a flyer, literature, no nothing.
There you have it. There you have it. I just want him. The next time I see him, I'm gonna talk to him because I just want to know, is that something he would even consider? Any of
Mm,
those options. Would he consider any of those options? You know what
yep.
I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
man, he would help turn Harvey around. Because
Because
if
it's
he
about time for Rick should be retiring anyway.
fix it, Lord, fix it.
Because let me see, Rick Sepit.
He didn't even know how much salt he had left.
Rick Sepit has been working in public works for 30. I want to say like 38 years.
Mm-mm. When you don't know, when somebody asks you how much salt you have left, And you don't know, you say probably about 250 tons. Well, where did you use all of that? Because like I said, these streets was looking horrible in Harvey when I came there when it was snowing. And don't blame that on the shortage of workers. If you telling me you got 1,700 tons of salt, and then Markham is agreeing to help you clean up, I'm sure they would have agreed to help you spread salt after they spread salt on their streets.
Well, guess what? Salting is it's buying salt is expensive. So I'm sure, like the chicken wings, they about was selling salt too.
Yeah, because not to let him tell it. He said they get a lower price than I'm just let him say it. We got one more. Let's get through this last public comment, then we'll head to the political the administration comments.
Reverend King Jr.
Mr.
I
King.
want to say hello, all the citizens of Harvey. Hello, good answer back to me. Don't be afraid. The buildings on Halsted Street must be secured by the city of Harvey. It's a disgrace. A total disgrace. They need to be boarded up, cleaned up, and everything. But I understand my own alderman said at the last meeting that there was a place where it was called, I can't think of the name, it was a terror or something like that, in a barbecue joint. He said that it's going to be cleaned up. Well, guess what? There's more trash in front of it. So I'm gonna just tell you that. The abandoned car wash on Halsted Street near Silly needs to be cleaned up. The two-story apartment building next to the drive-through place where they get those short things for their drugs and stuff. That needs to be cleaned up all of 147th Street behind the chicken place. That two-story building has been firebombed by some drug people, and now you have it looks like Beirut. In fact, it looks like when I was in Vietnam. It looks like something like that. That's right around the corner of my house. The building that has the children's, where they take care of the daycare center near Jefferson at 147, a block away from the train station. There is a sidewalk about the hall on 147th Street, and the street department needs to get to that right away. Right. This dumping has started already. We need to get the street department back in here. They need to hire every street department person you got, and whatever you have to do, get the street department at 150%, because we have to be ahead on the trash. We have to be ahead on the tall weeds. We have to be ahead on the tire dump. We have to be ahead on all those kinds of things. If you want to make money on permits and stuff like that, you can be ahead by following these trucks. These trucks right through Harvey dumping from their construction that they're turning us into a disgrace. I haven't seen prostitutes on 140 on Halsted Street anymore. And I'm glad the gentleman who came in here that day and shaded me and made some statements about me. And I told him, and I wasn't there. I told him I was going to sue him, and I was going to sue this guy. And Jedediah Brown, and I'll say about Jedediah Brown. Keep him out of the city of Harvey because he's poison. He is poison, poison, poison. You want our city to grow. You want us to come together. You want us to work together. And finally, I'll say I'm so happy because I had 2 comments on here about the treasury. And I see the treasurer was given an report. And I thank you for that, Mayor. I thank you that you allowed that treasurer to speak and give a report. It's about time. Now, our government is more open than what we're doing. Thank you very much.
All right. Give me your thoughts on Mr. King, and not to be confused with Martin Luther King, but he is the king in Harvey.
I mean,
Give me
I think, and into knowing him, getting to know him, he really he goes around and he looks through, through everything. He goes down the streets and the alleys. He goes up and down all through his ward. You know what I'm saying? And he sits down and makes a plan, and he when he gets up there and speaks, he not only is he speaking facts, but he also is trying to give a solution. Um, he is really sincere about a lot of of the things that's been going wrong in Harvey. Of course, about when the guy was killed and over there by his right in front of his house.
Mm.
The guy was shot up like 30 something times in the car.
Mm-hmm.
That was right there by like right in front of his house.
Oh my God.
Things like that, it makes you really, like really accept his thoughts and his solutions and the way he thinks, because he's here, he's in it, he's dealing with it, and not only is he complaining, but he also has a solution, or a plan to resolve what is really going on. And then, because before, he was a Clark supporter. I mean, man, you couldn't tell him nothing about Clark.
Oh.
But once he started to actually see what was going on, he's speaking what's supposed to be said. He's saying what's supposed to be said. He see that everything that he was promised didn't come to fruition, and it's good to hear a person off of both sides. He was on both sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, I love to hear when he comes up and talks, because yeah, his stuff is thought out. You know.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jerry. Jerry said, "Get rid of the old gray hair man. He thinks he the mayor father." I think he talking about the 5 heartbeats. Leave it to Beaver Daddy.
Oh.
Do wop Tyrone.
talk about my 3 sons shoe wearing. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Listen, I love Mr. King. I love him because he loves his community. He does those things riding around in his community, trying to look for things, not
Mm-hmm.
only because he's looking for dangerous things, in his community, but because he loves his community. He had pictures of the dumping that right before, minutes before he came to the meeting, he went and took pictures of the dumping that's still there. He went
Mm-hmm.
when he said somebody that the public works people needed to get over there by the school. He had pictures of the sidewalk that was all, I don't know, I think somebody hit the sidewalk or something, had
Mm-hmm.
a car crash, and the sidewalk was unlevel, and if a kid walking home stepped on it, it's not level, and they fell. If they would have failed, they would hit their head and then get hit by a car because it's right by the street.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very concerned that that was right in front of the school where the kids
Mm-hmm.
are walking home, and
Mm-hmm.
he said kids gonna be kids, right? So they might
Right.
be playing, around here and accidentally, one of them fall and hurt themselves, you know? And I said,
Mm-hmm.
I understand, Mr. King, but you're right. He always has a plan of how it can be fixed or what can be done. And he don't leave
Mm-hmm.
the podium without saying something positive. He said, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
He said, thank you, Shirley, for allowing the treasurer to speak. I thank you so much for that. And so
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like he would be a good alderman for the sixth ward choice too. Like y'all
Mm-hmm.
got, there's a lot of people in that sixth ward, that can step up and run. And
He,
I do
he was
believe,
close up on he was close up on Tyrone. He almost beat Tyrone.
yeah, and I think he's gonna run again. I think that you all should have several options in every ward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every
Mm-hmm.
and there should be several options for every seat. You should just have options. There's nothing wrong with it. But you definitely should pick the people who are working and who are trying to make Harvey better in a real way. right? In a real way that's
Right.
going to really affect the community and be for the community. So, you know, we're now going to transition. We have two speeches we're going to listen to. We're going to listen to the acting mayor first. Her speech was so incredibly long. I don't know how much of it we're going to listen to. And then we have Dominique Randall L. I think I'm going to go to Dominique Randall L's first, and then we'll circle back to Shirley because her little speech is long and it's full of crap. That's what I'll say. So let's listen to Randall. Let's listen to Randall L first.
Thank you. First of all, I want to appreciate everyone for coming out. Definitely want to say thank you to all of our staff, all the persons here to the work that they do. So Mayor, I appreciate you very much. And again, I'm gonna echo some things. I'm gonna try to talk a little bit fast. You know, we have 3 minutes. First of all, I do appreciate everyone for being here. Every single comment, every single question is exactly as Alderman Kobe said. It's very much so needed. I also want to point your attention to what I would say a lot of people know, but are not using. It's called the internet. That website is a way that you can communicate with us. You only see us and have this time, I'm not saying you only see us, I see a lot of people outside of it, but to just use this time to communicate your concerns, your questions, that's not the effective way to do that, in my opinion. Please call me. I don't care what ward you live in. I don't think any of us do. We care about you getting the questions answered, okay? There's a phone number on there. There's an email on there. I have cards with me presently. I don't know if we need to put a card doc out there, maybe with all of our cards on there, but we have to communicate. I don't understand, and I know I would not, when I know I can do otherwise, wait until a meeting to have these questions. I would not wait that way. I'm not that type of individual. If I have a question and there's a way for me to get to the answer, I want to get it, okay? And I know for myself, and what I've experienced is, we all have a pretty much an open door policy. Please use that, you all. I don't want to have nothing from you. That's not the goal. And I definitely don't want you to come into this meeting and make that be the appearance that that's what's going on. I say test me and find out. We're not here to hide anything. Secondly, we are getting where we need to go. Now, as far as I know, and the procedures that take place in the state of Illinois, audits are conducted by independent individuals. There are only a list of individual companies that can perform these type of audits. And I'm saying this because I've addressed this privately with a couple residents. We do not have a relationship with the individuals who audit the city of Harvey. They are not our friends, they're not our family members. They're not trying to look out for us. So when you open up that audit, that is actually the city of Harvey opening up whatever you consider to be the books. Now, when I say we're getting where you want us to go, here. Now, it's not our fault that we started late, trying to get up here. But can you at least acknowledge that we're moving that way? I mean, last thing, please, Councilman, so please use that resource, contact us. I want to answer your question, I know they do too, so we can continue to move forward in a positive direction. Amen? Thank you.
All right, Chapelle, what you think about Randall L's comments?
Well, that was stupid, but um, to say why wait until the meeting to ask questions. Number one, a meeting is for the public, correct? So if it's
Yes,
for the public, then questions need to be asked and answered in the public.
correct.
You are a public official, so that means you are you swore to uphold the law, to address, anything in public. You're a public servant. You serve the public. So why would anybody have to wait um before or after a meeting, or to get in touch with an alder person in order to get a question ask a question and get it answered? Um, I mean, if that's the case, then we should be having ward meetings every week,
So you can get the
because
answer
there's
to the questions,
because
right?
there's exactly because there's going to be questions all the time. I mean, I even believe that in between them 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying, you end up you end up asking what, about 4 or 5 questions. By the time you get to a meeting after 2 weeks, you got 4 or 5 more questions that you need answered. So I mean, if in between, just say if in between those times, those 2 weeks, then you got a ward meeting. You understand what I mean? So then, okay, then I can see you saying, all right, well, you right. I don't have to come there and ask a question. I can ask it at the ward meeting. But when y'all don't halfway know what y'all doing, why am I asking you a question anyway?
Well, my concerns was, you know, aren't meetings for asking questions?
I mean,
That
true,
that's
right?
my
That's what I'm
first
saying.
my
They're
first
for the
concern.
public.
My second concern is, why are we having all of these secret, and I wouldn't say secret, but well, I will say secret. Why are we having all these secret meetings with a certain select people? So only
Right.
certain people have answers, to questions. What if I
Hmm.
had the same question, but I don't have the ability to converse with my older person because I work the third shift or I work the
Right.
second shift, right? And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
when I'm free, you sleeping. And
Right.
when I'm free, and when you free, I'm sleeping. You see what
Hmm.
I'm saying?
Or
So,
or at work.
right. So what if I don't have that ability? Then if I do have the ability, let's say my off day is the meeting, then I'm going there and I'm going to ask my question.
Correct.
Why is it that these elected officials in these seats get so upset about questions? Now that is the thing
Because,
that throws me off.
well, the thing is this, right? Because me and you can ask the same question to Dominique Randall. Just say, since he the one brought that up, right?
Hmm.
We ask him the same question. He's going to give me and you two different answers. So
That's the
because because he's going to tell you one thing and then he's going to tell me another. But if they're held to answering it in the public, it's a problem, because now, man, look, I don't know what to say. You feel what I'm saying? They don't know what to
hmm
say. They don't know. They don't know what lies that they've already told people. They don't keep
mm
up with them. They
Mm.
don't
And
keep up
I
with them.
agree with Cappy. Cappy says defensive behaviors occur when a person is guilty or is trying to deflect to avoid answering the question truthfully.
Correct. Correct.
So
And that's it.
I agree with that. And you just notice the ones that get angry. Now Tracy never get angry. Alderman of the second ward never get angry. Just gonna answer your question. Whatever they know, you gonna know. But
Hmm.
that 3, that 5, and that 6.
Hmm.
Get
And
to asking
sometimes, and
questions,
sometimes, and sometimes one when she was up there.
right? Get to asking questions, and then you get all of this. Well, I don't know why we have to answer that because I asked. That's why.
That part.
Like
Hmm.
I'm just so confused that questions are offensive to them. There should be checks and
Hmm.
balances for aldermen established in a new charter section. There should be something because like I said, asking a question should not have to be asked in private. Right?
Exactly.
It should be able to be asked in public so that everybody has the information. Certain
Yep.
people shouldn't be given information, and then they have access to the answers and I don't. And I'm like, well, why do you know and I don't? And that's my ward, right?
Exactly.
So,
Right.
even if you have to answer the question or you hear the question again in the public, I feel like this. If you ask a question in private, you should come to the meeting, make a public comment about it, and give them the answer that you was given.
Mm-hmm.
Because that way everybody knows, not just you.
That part.
See, because it's a public meeting, it should be public information. You should not want me to contact you, not in the public, so you can give me an answer. No, you
Mm-hmm.
should give everybody an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever
And
the
they should get the
question
same.
is.
And they should get the same answer. If I contact an older person and I ask them a question, they should answer it at the meeting.
Right. And it shouldn't matter what ward it's for or in.
Right. Yeah.
Dominique Randall L. sat in that seat and said, you can ask me a question. A lie. I have it on good authority that somebody emailed him and he asked them what their name was so he could verify that they live in his ward. Now, how would you be doing that, sir? Is what I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Have access to my personal information. A
I
question
mean,
is
at the end of the day, you are an elected official for that city. Just because you in that ward doesn't mean only the people in your ward should be able to ask you questions.
now this
So,
person was in his ward. However, if the question is about your ward, it shouldn't matter where they live. You're the alderman of that ward, right?
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're asking you a question about your ward. Give
Mm-hmm.
the answer.
Mm-hmm.
This is my thing. You don't need to know where they live at. Why do
No,
you
you
need to
don't.
know where they live at? Is retaliation why you need to know where they live at? Because that would be my first question.
Mm.
No, I'm asking you about something that's happening in your ward. Do you have
Right.
the answer or do you not?
Right.
It don't matter if I live there. You should just be giving me the answer if you have it. If you don't, just say you don't have it. I don't understand what the problem is with saying you don't have it.
Right.
There should be no problem with, okay, I don't have the answer for you, but if you come to the meeting, maybe we can both get an answer, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's how it should be. Now we're gonna do Shirley's comment, but we're gonna stop in between because I'm gonna tell you some of this stuff gonna make you mad. So I'm gonna start letting her talk, and then I'm gonna stop at certain points so that you can give your comment, and we can just have the discussion about it. And then this is gonna be the last thing, and then you'll
Okay.
have final comments. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Drunk whiskey. Barely drunk whiskey.
Now, I could not respond while you were up there, because if we would have been a debate, we would have been here a very long time. As far as public comments, they should go before the time we voted. Back in 2025, when I was mayor pro tem, I attempted to do that. And everyone said, no, we didn't get the council approval. The council approved it, they elected this way. But I did give it a time, and I did try to put the comments beforehand. Second, corruption in Illinois, absolutely there was corruption. And I'm confident there is.
Now, did you hear her say was corruption in Illinois?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I
Mm-hmm.
want to make one comment. I want to make one thing clear. So before the meeting, I always get to the meetings early so that I can get my proper place and video record these meetings and go live for these meetings for people. You see this lady, you can see the back of her head, and then the gentleman next to her, you can see the back of his head. The lady
Mm-hmm.
with the dress that you can see the back of her head, that is Clark's mother.
Yep.
Okay. The gentleman in the hat next to her is Clark's brother. Before the meeting began, they were allowed to enter into the back door or the side door of the building before the meeting. Now, mind you, you say, Super, do they work for the city? Well, I have no idea, because the only people that I feel should be entering this building before the meeting should be municipal workers, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but no. Um, I was told that Clark's mother is the ward captain, and I asked, is a block captain, and I asked, what did that have to do with going in the side door before the meeting starts?
Right.
Now let's back up a little bit. This young lady, or this seasoned lady, just buried her son. Now I don't know about you, but I lost my sister when she was 22. And for 3 weeks, we could not get my mother out of the bed. And when I say
Mhm.
out of the bed, I let her go 3 days without taking a shower. And I finally had to say, okay, this is enough. You've got to get out of the bed and get in the shower. The grief of a parent burying a child is so heavy. You know, I'm just wondering, and I know that everyone grieves differently, but I'm just wondering, you really got your life back on track so fast,
Hmm.
adjusting to this new normal without your son, that you're coming to meetings, being ushered
Yeah.
in the side door, and being given pride of place on the front row. Have you, I mean, what type of process happened? I mean, not saying that everybody got to follow the same process. If it's grief, I didn't see it. I'm just telling you an eyewitness of what I seen.
Mhm.
I can only talk about what I seen and what it felt like to me. This is my eyewitness account of what I seen and what it felt like to me. But that's who this was, and that's what happened. And then Shirley makes this statement that there was corruption in Illinois. I love this. Renee said, so the answer in private can be denied in public. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Somebody
That's
else
true.
said, Shirley Drunkwinsky became very defensive after the residents stated their concerns. Why not take the time to reflect on what was said and respectfully tell residents she will respond next week? Because, children is a monkey see, monkey do type situation. Because ain't that what her mayor did before? Ain't it?
Mhm.
Okay, these are the same. And when you rear your children, you have to know that they're going to take on your rearing. Whatever you instill in them, that's what they're going to show in private and in public.
Mhm.
I think there
Let's keep
is.
going.
But when we talk about people's background, whether it was expunged or whether it's no longer on the record, we all have things in our background. And if we don't,
Chapelle, you been to jail?
Mhm. I mean, I ain't never been to prison. I've been to jail, but I ain't been to prison.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out what type of math she doing, because her math not mathing. Now, I ain't never been to jail my entire life. Have I been arrested and released? Yeah. But like
Right.
actually had to stay in jail and all
No.
of that jazz? No.
Mhm.
And do I have a record? No.
Nope.
No, I don't. Now, some speeding tickets? Maybe. A suspended license? For sure. Right?
I mean, I mean, shoot. I remember uh I got arrested for. I mean, I ended up going to jail over a old warrant that was shoot so old. I went to go bond somebody out of jail, and they kept me. But but
Just,
and
the math is not mathing for me. To say that everybody,
and look,
know
and Nick
somebody,
Graves was the one bonding me out of jail. So I mean,
do I know somebody, or do I have a family member that's been to prison? Yeah.
mhm.
Oh, but to say that everybody in that room has some sort of background, I don't
So I
know.
wonder if I wonder if she referring about herself because rumor has it, this is a rumor, that she was drunk one night driving and she hit Tom Dreesen while he was on the bike.
So allegedly, she hit someone
That's
on
a legend.
while drunk,
Yeah.
while
She
DWI.
was she yep. That's what that was the rumor. I don't know how true it is, but that was the rumor.
Well,
So
I understand her
maybe that's what
confusion.
she coming out trying to say that, yeah.
Okay,
That's
maybe
one of
I
part of her
understand
background.
her a little bit more then. Okay, let's see what else she gonna say, Jesus.
And let me ask you this, how many people think that the senator should run again? How about the senator?
Now, why would she bring Jesse Jackson Jr. into this? That man just buried his daddy. And she asking how many think that the senator should run again. Name, Shirley. What senator you talking about?
I
Because there's a lot
mean,
of them that been convicted before. But why would you do that? Why would you be throwing mud on somebody else? Janet ain't
but
never been nobody's senator. I'm
right.
so confused.
What
I'm
senator she
so
talking about? You know what she
that's
talking about? Napo?
listen, I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm trying to think. Jesse Jackson Jr. is the only one out of the people that is running that was a senator. He not running for
Okay.
senator this time. He running for
You run
U.S.
for
representative, right?
Congress, yep.
Right, and he's the only one out of them that have a record. Now we do have other senators that have taken money, but was never prosecuted. Uh, that
Hmm.
misappropriated funds out of their campaigns, but was never prosecuted. Okay, so I'm just confused. But why would you do that? Why would you say
I mean,
that?
but why? What does Jesse Jackson Jr. got to do with what's
And I
sitting
don't
in
know
that room right there?
I don't know that she was talking about Jess because she didn't name no names again. But if you're thinking along those lines, that's the only person you could think of, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that had to do with anything. And even so, that man been out of politics for 13 years. Okay, he didn't come right back after he got out of jail and went right back to running for nothing. I think that's the whole thing that people be forgetting. 13 years. This man have not been in office for. He was in office in 2013. We are in 2026.
26.
So he did
Mm-hmm.
not. He was not a repeat offender. He did not go right back into public service. He
And
got
start selling chicken wings
okay.
and stuff.
He got out of pre. He didn't even try to get on a library board, a school board, or nothing. He went and sat down somewhere. He said,
Mm-hmm.
"Sat down somewhere and get myself together." And for
Mm-hmm.
13 years, that's what he did. Until Bobby Rush came and knocked on his door and said, "Hey, we need somebody because we don't have anybody."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm just like, where is this coming from? Somebody says when an alderman doesn't do what's asked of the position, get rid of that ass. Period. That's why Harvey in this position. People playing in your face and get voted back in. Okay, well I
True.
can't agree with none of that. Let's
That's
let's
yep.
go a little further in this comment.
Congressman, one for the record, you can have a record in the state of Illinois and not apply and not be disqualified to run for office.
That's a
You can
lie. She lying.
Well, first of all, ain't nobody running for office. She was appointed. Huh? Who running? What we talking about here? Now you deflecting and adding shit and putting shit together that don't even go together. Now you trying to confuse people on purpose. Because it is a lie. If you a felon, you cannot run for office. Period.
Mm-mm.
You would have to be pardoned. And let's talk about that in real time. Roger Apower, the current mayor of Markham,
Mm-hmm.
was a felon.
Yep.
He was pardoned. And that's how he ended up being able to run for
And keep
mayor
his seat. Yep.
and keep
And
his
keep
seat.
his seat.
He ran and they didn't catch the felon part. He
Mm-hmm.
won and then he had to be pardoned so he could take his seat.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so you cannot. And let me give you another real time thing that you could up. Lamont Brown, who was alderman during
Oh, the
Keith
fourth
Price
ward.
and
He was the
and
fourth
and
ward.
part time, was a felon. They convinced him to run. Kellogg and them did, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't vote with them, then they used his felon record to get him out of his seat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what go look it up. You can look it up. It's public information. Go look it up. There's a
Mm-hmm.
whole story about it. Whole story about it, tell you about all the players and everything. Whole story about it. Go look it up.
Yep.
Those are two real-time examples of you cannot run as a felon for an office.
And also too, Lamont Brown was the one who recorded their illegal meetings at Shirley Jawinski's house.
Whew, Lord.
The
Let's go.
incapacitation of the city. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
You can have it removed from your record. But I am going to tell you that what I will stand by my decision with this clerk. This clerk has shown that she has been I'm a board member of District 510 and 152. There has been no foul play on that.
So you gonna stand by the chicken wing lady. Got it.
Yeah. She lying. Just lying.
So you gonna stand by the mosquito abatement lady, the chicken wing lady. You gonna stand by. Okay, got it. I'm just, we just trying to make sure that we have your position clear. And now that we have it clear, then what is our job to do? Our job is to act accordingly. We're going to act accordingly and we're going to treat you accordingly now that we know. Okay? Sometimes you just need things cleared up, right? Because they be a little cloudy, And now that we have this clarification going on, I feel like it's very important for us to listen to what she is saying. Okay? Okay, because this was an appointment. This was a choice. I want you to understand that. This was a choice. And listen, if anybody can get a message to her, let her know. Most people, most captains that go down, we don't ever see them again. That's the only thing I got. If you choosing to go down with the ship, that's a choice, and it's your choice.
Yep.
Just remember that we might not ever see you again. Okay?
We're talking about the Turley Home projects. The Turley Home, that was interesting. I wrote that down. The day office is not there. I will look into that.
So you're basically admitting that you didn't look into anything because you didn't know that.
Yeah, because you didn't know that.
Because you have a developer that has an address listed that you never went past to see if it was active. I'm gonna say, in the words of what's that pastor name? What is the pastor name? Oh my God. The dark skinned man. The dark skinned man. What is his name?
What? Pastor, what do you do?
He's a big pastor. He said, this is his words. Who in the hell left the gates open? Okay? Who in the hell left the gates open?
Who was that? That no, that ain't.
I cannot remember his name. I cannot remember his name.
It ain't what's the man name? He ran for office.
Oh, TD Jakes. No, TD Jakes.
Oh,
TD Jakes.
Okay.
One time that said, who in the hell left the gates open? So you mean to tell me you never went to this office and you didn't know it was fake office? So that means nobody looked up the developer. Because even if you didn't, the village administrator who is in charge, basically the gatekeeper of who gets in front of the mayor, didn't either.
Right.
They didn't give you a briefing on who these people were.
Correct.
That's concerning. That's very concerning to me. That's very concerning to me that you didn't know that, and nobody. That just tells us that nobody did any due diligence on none of it.
Correct. She's part of the corruption. Yep.
So you just admitted that though. That for me,
Mm-hmm.
if you admitting that you didn't know that, you're admitting that y'all didn't do what you were supposed to do.
Talking
Right.
about grants, how come we're not using the Broadway project? We cannot pick and choose grant money. They will allocate grant money for this particular.
She says you can't pick and choose grant money. Here's my thing. You can pick and choose which grants you apply for.
Mm-hmm.
So why apply for one that only gives you a limited scope of where you can use it when you have a whole entire city that is in need of work?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what the grant said? Well, guess what? We're going to find out because I have FOID the entity that the grant came from. So we're getting ready to see what the actual grant says. Because, see, I feel like we being manipulated, right? We're being
Mm-hmm.
told what the grant says, but we was not actually shown
Turn
what the
on.
grant said,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I feel
Right.
like we're being manipulated. Words are being and processes are being manipulated because it is true that you can't just use grant funds for whatever you want. They have to be used specifically for what's laid out in the grant. That is true,
Mm-hmm.
right? But what does
Correct.
it say? Because we don't know, right? Why not just post the grant packet? Why not just post what it said? So that we can verify what you're saying is true. Because, see, we traumatized, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
traumatized by lies and liaticians, not
All I got
politics,
all I
liaticians.
gotta do is just have a public hearing.
I mean,
Let everybody see what's going on.
or you got a whole big old website, right?
Hmm.
Why you just don't have an area for grants and post the grants right there? What?
Because that's too much like right.
Okay, right. So and there goes why you don't want to answer my questions. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh
Yep.
Lord Jesus.
Street. And that is what we have to use if we choose to apply for that grant. We don't have to apply for it. We don't apply for it, nothing will happen in Harvey. They determine what the grant is for, and we.
Well, it is the village administrator's job to make sure that they are applying for grants that make sense for the city of Harvey under your direction. So why
Hmm.
would they apply for a grant for an area that's already built up? I'm so confused because listen, there is not one pothole on Broadway. I dare you to find one.
Hmm.
Chapelle, am I wrong? Stop me
Let me
when I'm
see.
wrong. Am I wrong?
Let me see. Let me think. Yeah, well, there's some by Thornton School on 150th. It's right there by the school when you
And
turn
I'm
off.
surprised by that because that's closer to the Muslim end, which they
Yeah,
keep
but
very clean. And I don't know how they got there, but for the most part, okay, there's one there. But for the most part, that little area is the only place.
yep. I
Interesting.
mean, yeah, yeah.
That, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing like when we did, anything in the city with grants. They give us a guideline, we have to use it for that amount of money. The buildings on Halsted, we have to board them up. We do know we're at a deficit here, right? We do know we.
Now you're in a deficit, but you're not answering FOIs and you're having to pay lawyers. Make up your mind. You in a deficit or you're not? Because you should be answering these FOIs and that way you won't have to pay. There's that Edith Bunker from the third ward. She made a comment about that, right? I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
say it again. If you answer the FOI, you will not have to pay anything. $0 for you just to
Mm-hmm.
answer $0 for you to
Mm-hmm.
answer the FOI. That lady go from one thing to now. I don't even know what world planet she be in when she be giving her. I don't know who helps her. I think she need a chaperone if you ask me because something to bring her thoughts in, right? Because you can think one thing, but that don't mean it's true. You might need somebody to help you and say, no, that's not quite right. That's not quite it, right? Because you said if we wasn't paying out $5,500 for FOIs, well, you right. You right. That could went to boarding up the building, but y'all didn't answer the FOI. So
There you go.
I mean, not only do you need to worry about those buildings, but the buildings that you now are in possession of on Myrtle need to be properly boarded up too. Maybe
And
you
they
should
not.
talk about that before you eminent domain houses that people were actually living in and paying taxes on.
Mm-hmm.
You just created more burden when they had several other places that want to put nobody out to put said retention pond.
Yep.
Now look what you're responsible for. But you're not talking about that. You're not talking
Mm-hmm.
about how you did that to yourself. And when I say you, the first ward, the third ward, the fifth ward, and the sixth ward, that's what you voted for. So
Yep.
you,
That's what you voted for. Yep.
when you voted for that, that's what you vote. You voted to put more undue burden on the city by having to maintain homes that you eminent domained, and you now have to be responsible for boarding up
Mm-hmm.
and securing. Now, who problem
Mm-hmm.
is that? Who fault is? Who you gonna blame that on, Edith Bunker? Huh? Who you gonna blame that on, Edith Bunker? Edith, you just need to sit down in your recliner and be quiet. Wait for Archie to call you. When Archie call and ask you something, then answer, because that ain't it. Okay, that don't make sense. Okay. Okay, wait for Meathead to tell you that Archie is calling you. Because you see that? You see that? You eminent domained a whole block that had people that have been living there for years. A 90-year-old
Decades.
man who
Decades.
had been paying his taxes was not behind. None of the people on that block were behind taking care of their properties, beautifying their street, taking care of their neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
See, you see now? And now the MWRD says you're responsible to keep those buildings boarded up.
Sure, MWRD, they owe billions and billions of dollars. The fans watching them.
I listen, I'm just so confused by these comments that these people be making. Other people are burdening the city, but you're not burdening the city with these votes that you're making. You didn't think about that in your mind. Hey, if we eminent domain these homes, we gonna be responsible to keep them up. Well,
That
there's
part.
people already in there right now keeping them up. Why would we do that? Okay, because we slow. All right. Because
Yep.
people are suing the city for not getting their FOIA answers. They the problem. Okay, that makes sense. Child, forgive me. Forgive me.
Not have the money. We talk about the fire department, we talk about the police department, we talk about the street department, we talk about the water department. I am telling you, we're bringing people back slowly. We have a targeted date.
Girl, do you hear what she said? We talked about the water department, the police department. Guess how many people she brought back in each one of them departments since you
One and
wasn't
a
there?
half.
Just
One and a
one.
half.
Just one.
Look, I
Just
gave her a half.
Just one. Well, listen, I have a question, Shirley. If the comptroller is getting paid as the comptroller and his accounting firm is getting paid $20,000 a month, why is he never at a meeting? But he getting all these checks. And how is he getting all these checks? W&W Consulting as the accounting firm, and he's the comptroller. Seem like to me there's $20,000 a month right there that could go to boarding up some houses. But Edith, you didn't
They love
clock
the double. They love the double dip.
Edith, you didn't clock that, and you on the finance committee, did you? Oh, okay, my fault, child.
I brought back one fireman, one police officer, one public works. We partnered up with municipalities around here, talked about the dumping in the high grass. Markham has volunteered to come into Harvey's and picking up the dumpsters.
Yeah, and you know why, Shirley? Because Harvey is next to Markham, and you're making him look bad, especially that sixth ward, because that sixth ward sits on the back end of Markham, right? So when
No. The
in,
Markham, you got the
I'm talking about when you go up Kedzie, when you go up Kedzie from 159 towards 147th.
right. So if the Markham is bordered on the third ward.
Well, it looked rough.
The third ward. I think the third and the first.
It looked
Might be
rough.
the third.
It looked rough in all of them places.
Mm-hmm.
So why would he not help you? Because helping you is helping him. Okay?
Let me get over here.
Because he's trying to get more businesses in that corridor over there for Markham. He can't do it if they be like, that's right next to Harvey, and look at how bad that look.
Right.
That's what he's trying to do. And they are being successful at it. I ain't even gonna lie to you. They are cleaning up.
Apart and them bringing in a lot of businesses, they doing a lot over there.
They have a set. If you haven't seen it, you can go to their city hall. They have a set idea of what they want 159th to look like when you go down 159th by I forgot what that plaza is called over there where the Harold's Chicken
Canterbury.
and Caspel. Yeah, they have a set. They have a rendering of what they want it to look like, and man, it is beautiful. But you got to do what you got to make sure that everything around you is set that people feel like they want to come in here and it looks safe. Dumping don't look safe.
Right.
So he got to help you. Not that he wanted to, he have to.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it, so because y'all not doing nothing about it.
Spots in each of the ward. Rick, how many spots do we have?
Over 38.
Over 38 dumping. Now, I'm going to ask you, how many of you saw people dumping? They went in and cleaned. Thank you. Thank you for.
I called the police right away.
Thank you. You called the police right away. Take a picture of the license plates. Because we have a problem.
Girl, all the police officers start screaming in there telling us we cannot take pictures of people's license plates.
Oh, wow.
You can't hear them, but in the back, they were like, They were
Oh, my God.
Even the Hispanic man that said he called, he said, no, they say you cannot do that. They say you cannot. You cannot do that. That's what they say. I say, take a picture. They say no. And so all of the policemen were like, no, they can't. And so, and it's really because it's something that's happening in progress. When something is in progress, you can't do it. If he would have said that he called when they was leaving, then they probably would have said, can you get a picture of his license plate? You see the difference? When you're calling something is in progress, it's active. So you should not be involving yourself in the situation. If you're calling and something is done and finished and they're about to leave and they're not going to make it there in time, then they're going to tell you, can you take a picture? But they have to tell you. They have to tell you that. Right? Because everything is being recorded when you call 911, right? So they have to give you permission and tell you to do it. So, to me, this whole thing, about what about the illegal dumping? Well, what about it? Because if you hadn't laid off all of the workers, people wouldn't feel free to dump because they'd be like, ain't nobody going to catch us because ain't nobody going to be out here cleaning up anyway. That's how people feel. Now that you have told them you done laid off everybody.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Okay, well, that's not necessary. But bottom line, you take a picture of them dumping with the video, and if the police won't take it, come to the city and I'll take a look at it. And I will get the chief over there to take a look at it. Because we are in this together. It is so easy to sit there and say, well, the chicken place needs to be cleaned up. The chicken place was cleaned up last week. Am I correct? When you had told me
Tyrone lied. She talking about the place that Mr. King came and said was dirty the week before, right?
Mm-hmm.
He took a picture, 2 minutes. He had it on his iPad, 2 minutes before he came to the meeting. And he said, this is the same trash. And he showed us the picture from the week before, and it was the same trash. It was never cleaned up. It was never cleaned up. And I told Mr. King, well, prepare yourself, because out of pettiness, he probably gonna have them leave it there still. Like, you're not gonna tell him what to do. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I
Mm-hmm.
told Mr. King, just prepare yourself for them not to pick it up. And we just have to, go another route. Call another alder person. I said, contact Kobe and say, hey, they left it over here. Can you have them come back? Right? That's what I would.
Mm-hmm.
We got it cleaned up. Well, it's messed up again. Oh, is that our fault? Is that your fault?
What?
In the first ward, I put garbage cans around.
She asked, was dumping our fault or your fault? It's the criminal's fault, Shirley. Help me, Chapelle. Help me make sense of that. She said,
I mean, of course, try to make the people feel bad, right? Make the residents feel guilty that y'all not able to do y'all job. Like,
but
and I
this is
ain't
why
gonna say
you have the
I'm not gonna say
dumping.
you're not able to do it. You don't want to do it. That's it.
This is why you have the dumping, because people feel like all she gonna do is blame me, go on dump. She don't care. I
Yep.
don't care.
Mm-hmm.
That was weird to me. That was a weird statement to me. Is that our fault or your fault? It's the criminal's fault, Shirley.
Yeah, that's right. That's diabolical.
That's it. We are in this together. Yes, everyone has a right to be disappointed. But there is not a person here. If somebody said, well, if you did what you did here in your full-time job, I take offense to that. Because I put my heart and soul in this job.
Shirley was more offended that Mr. Michael said, if you did in your full-time job what you do here, you'll be fired.
Yeah, she felt that one. That one hurt.
Shirley,
That stung a little bit.
you retired. So I don't know how that stung you, but obviously it stung you because it was the truth. And you
Yeah,
know it.
that part. Yep, that's what it was. It was the truth.
Not you more stung by that than anything that was said. I take offense to that. You don't take offense to people dumping in your city? You don't take offense to that? You don't want to take this opportunity to tell people to stop dumping in your city.
Mm.
But you wanted to take the time to tell Michael you was offended by him saying, if you did the job you do now in your full-time job, you'd be fired. You offended
Yeah,
by that though.
yeah, yeah.
And there was a comment made. I gotta tell you this because you didn't know this. And then I'm gonna talk about one more thing and ask you about one more thing. I'm not gonna play it because this is long. We're gonna be done. So there was a comment made before the meeting started. And I meant to get it, but I forgot. Guess what Shirley said? And you can go back to the meeting. The meeting is up on the Harvey Facebook page website, because I don't want you to come to my page for people to think that, hey, I mean, you can view it on my page. Of course, give me a
I'm
view.
gonna have to because I'm blocked. But go ahead.
Okay. Lord. And you need to do something about that. You need to turn that into the AG's office, because they are not allowed to block people from a public page. That's against the law. And you need to turn that in. If anybody under sound of my voice is blocked from the city page, any city page, you need to turn that complaint into the Attorney General's office, and I guarantee you will be unblocked immediately, because that is against the law. They cannot. It's an infringement on your Second Amendment right to be able to voice your opinion on public bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So go get yourself unblocked. Okay? But she states, this is what she states at the beginning of the meeting. I haven't lost my vote because I haven't given up my seat as the first ward alderperson. So I have one vote. I don't have a vote as a mayor, so I don't get 2 votes. I just get 1 vote. How? How do you get a vote at all, Shirley? Because we all saw you stand up there and take the oath as the mayor.
Mhm.
So what do you mean
Mhm.
you cannot vacate your seat as the alderperson of the first ward? When you took the oath, you vacated the seat then because you took the oath as the mayor. Tell me why
Mhm.
Little didn't say nothing about that.
Well, she can't hold both. So once she took that oath, she got the
She is now
either
the acting mayor.
well, this is the thing, right? So because she already took the oath as a first ward alderwoman, you can leave she can be left at that and not be the acting mayor. She can still be the pro tem. So because that'll make her
That would be the case
uh
if she didn't take the oath for mayor in front of all of us.
no,
Record.
just because she took it don't mean that it has to be followed through because she has not vacated that seat is she's saying she don't have to vacate that seat. No, you do.
We
You can't be both. You can't swear in to both.
that those are 2 incompatible seats.
Yes.
So how can you sit there and say that? And you took the oath. This is my only thing. You took the oath for mayor in front of all of us. You can't say that you haven't vacated your seat because you took the oath.
And if she's saying that, then that means she's not acting mayor.
That thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. You can't be both. You can't be the acting mayor and still the first ward alderman.
Nope, you sure can't.
Especially if you had that judge there, that's a legal and binding situation where you had that judge sign off on that paper and give you the oath of office. Now
Yep.
you putting that judge in some type of way. Make it make sense to me. Somebody make it make sense to me. I don't know, but I'm going to ask the question of the attorney general. How can this be? I'm going to ask it of the attorney general and the inspector general and anybody else that want to answer me. I'm going to ask them. How?
Mhm.
And I'm going to send them clips of both videos of her saying that and her taking the oath with the judge in front of us.
Mhm.
Because you shouldn't be voting on nothing. The seat is just vacant. That's it.
Yep.
But we're going to find out because I'm finna ask. I'm finna ask the question. And anybody else that wants to ask the question, hit that complaint button at the office of the inspector general and the attorney general's, the Illinois attorney general's office on their websites where it says complaint. Ask
Mhm.
the question. We need to start putting this stuff on paper. Ask the question until they get tired, till they get so tired of seeing complaints from Harvey that somebody says they opening an investigation.
Yep.
This is what you have to do. This is what you have
Mhm.
to do. We can't be lazy. That's what's wrong with our community. We have no follow through. We do not
Mhm.
follow through with shit. Nothing.
Mhm.
We need to start following through with these actions.
Mhm.
That's why those buttons are there. Well, I don't hear from them for months. I don't care. That ain't your business. You turned it in. You turned it in. So then when that person go up for re-election, you could say, oh no, I'm not voting for him definitively. Because when I asked his office to investigate something, they did not even
He
respond.
didn't. Yep. They didn't.
That's how you find out who to vote for because these jobs are on the job training. You got to vote them in to see what they're going to do. That's the bad part.
Yep.
That's the bad part right there. That we got to live with these choices until we know better. Then when we know better, what we got to do better.
Hmm.
The last thing that we're going to talk about is Shirley is on this video saying that the residents are shooting out the flock cameras. What'd you think about that, Chapelle?
I mean, if you know that the residents are shooting out the cameras, why are they not arrested? Why are they not being held to pay back for those cameras that they're shooting out and destroying, right?
Right.
Because you're saying that they're residents. So if you know that they are residents of Harvey, go get them. Go get them. I mean, it don't make sense to know that these people doing this, and you basically saying, let them go ahead and shoot them out. Let them just, you know what I'm saying? Like, what sense do that make?
I mean, does Harvey not have the same access, at least the police and in the mayor's office, to the media to be able to? You got this $1 million crime center that you said, right? With these
Mhm.
fly cameras. So you telling me that you don't have the same powers as these other municipalities to release this footage to the media and ask people to help you identify these
Mm.
people shooting out these cameras?
Good.
I mean, you got these facial recognition cameras. You got this 4K, $100,000, $500,000, $1 million facility, and you have not yet asked the media and the public to help you identify people shooting out $80,000 to $100,000 cameras so that you can, and the residents can get some restitution. That's what you're telling me.
I mean, I look. It just don't make sense. If you could, I mean, if you're saying it out of your mouth that it's residents, then you know who they are. You know who they are. So why they not arrested?
I
Why they?
mean, these are the
I don't get it.
These are the questions. These are the questions that I have. You have access to this $1 million crime center. You just said that the aldermen toured it. Now, here's my thing. You have this $1 million crime center and you have no one certified to use it. So you are just using the basics of these top of the line crime busting fighting things at their most basic operations because you have no one qualified,
So
quantified,
so you're
certified.
saying they got Mission Impossible equipment with Scooby Doo, the Scooby Doo gang sitting up there using it, right? That's pretty much what you're
Exactly.
saying.
Exactly. 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 We sending Shaggy, Scooby, Scrappy Doo out there to take the mask off the mystery man.
Right?
That's what we doing. Okay.
I
Okay.
mean,
That's what we doing because we don't have anybody certified to actually use this high tech CSI, information. I'm sure has facial recognition that can hook up to what is it that national crime thing that they
the
put people
database.
right to
Yeah.
recognize, and people with criminal records, because I'm sure it's only people with criminal records shooting out these because why would I as a citizen to want to be safe would just shoot out this camera? It's crazy. So it's got to be
Nah,
somebody with records.
it's some of them seniors. They up there shooting it out 'cause now
They don't want
they
you to
don't
get
want to.
away with the case of chicken wings.
I'm
That's what,
telling you, they don't want. That's it. They don't want you to know about them chicken wings.
okay. I'm trying to understand this. I'm trying to understand you having this system, that you're touting that cost these millions of dollars that could have been used elsewhere. It would have been better served taking that $1 million and doing what? Renovating your police department on Dixie Highway because it's uninhabitable. You're not
Right.
supposed to be putting suspects, offenders, anybody in there because it's not lawful. So
Right.
why shouldn't you have taken that money and invested in either building another proper jail or doing
Mhm.
renovations on the jail that you have, adding this technology to that already standing building? Instead, you buy a bank, you put all of this what's that being the Mission Impossible, this 007 stuff. in here. And now you got the spy.
James Bond.
Look, now you got the spy who shagged me running it. I don't understand it. It
Many,
don't make
many.
okay. It don't make sense to me. Okay. So these are the things when the older person of the second ward talks about wasteful spending. These are the things that she's trying to tell you we could have did without.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it should have went. It should have went to $1 million. $500,000 could have fixed all the potholes all over Harvey. It ain't but 6.5 square miles. Huh?
Right.
And then the other 500,000 could have went to renovating and giving a new jail over there on Dixie Highway that people can actually be arrested and put in, instead of you having to take them all the way down to California, or having to take them over to Markham, or having to take them over to Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Ask, can you house this person? And then
That's
pay
just sad.
them, and then pay them for doing so, and then still drive over there and take them prisoner meals, because you can't infringe on their budget. You still got to take care of what belongs to you.
Yep. That's
So
just jacked up.
we gotta start thinking about how we're voting, who we're voting. You know, if it was up to me, I get rid of all this party shit because it don't even matter. We need people with character.
Mm-hmm.
Republican or Democrat, they can still be corrupt. You
Yeah.
don't even need this party. You don't need to know what party they in. You need to know about their character. So what do
Yeah.
we need party designations for? We don't need them because they corrupt on either side.
Yep.
You
Yep.
just taking a mixed bag. You taking a chance when you vote. So we
Mm-hmm.
need to start getting that in order. You know, we need to start thinking 250 years old. America is 250 years old, and we are still running on the same laws as 250 years ago, with some added new things. Very minimal though. A lot of these things we need to revamp. The whole judicial system needs to be revamped
Well, I
because
mean, it's being ran off the same principles and ideology that they had 250 years ago. It ain't
look
changed. It's just
look at
being
the Bill of
handed
Rights.
down. It's just
Yeah,
being handed down. That's all.
look at the Bill of Rights. Half of those bills were built on racist ideology. Look at
Yep.
them.
Yep.
Look at them. They were not built with you in mind, because guess what? Nobody that looked at Gus was at the table formulating these things.
Exactly.
Keep
Yep.
that in your mind. All right, Chapelle, you got the last word, and we getting out of here.
Well, all I can say is, super, you doing a super duper job making these reports and getting down to the nitty gritty, and letting people see what's really going on and putting it in layman's terms for them to understand, if they, and to the sarcasm is awesome, right? Because yeah, you be pointing it out. You point it out, and that's what a lot of people need to not let go over their heads, right? The deflections, the run around and the play of words that they use, the lies. Um and it's just that this is something that the people need to use as a tool to make some of their decisions, right? On who they want to govern or to speak for them in their communities. It's like it's getting played out, y'all. It's getting played out to continue letting these people do what they want to do. And it's the same people year after year after year, term after term after term. These people are dying in their seats. They're career criminal politicians, right? We got to stop that. When are we going to start really researching these people and seeing what they doing, and really seeing, holding them accountable? Because I mean, let me put it to you like this, in hood terms, right? If you know somebody smoke crack, would you give them $500 a hole for you? Because That $500 gonna be smoked up, right? So why would you let a person that has sat in prison for stealing state funds sit as an elected official in any entity? School board, college board, any mosquito abatement. Why? Why would they? I don't care if Jesus came down and pardoned her. She still did what she did. Right? We have to start getting out here doing our research. And if I say something, Super say something that you find a little iffy, research it.
That's
Research it.
right.
And then you will know for yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have to stop this. We have to stop and then we living like this. Why do we have to live like this? Why? I mean, our parents, grandparents, parents, ancestors fought for us to be able to live a nice life. They suffered. A lot of them were killed and mauled by dogs and beat by police and all this. I mean, and they suffered and did all this to live because I know what my father went through when we moved to Harvey. You know what I'm saying? The racism we dealt with and and all
You
that.
could have stayed at home.
Girl, you scared me. And but this stuff needs to be really, studied. It need to be researched and paid attention to so you can make a good choice of who you want sitting in those seats.
Well, listen, that's the word from your girl, Chapelle. Chapelle show. Okay. All right. Listen, I'm gonna see y'all on the next recap. I'm gonna be live in my private community. Probably not tomorrow night because one of my daughter's birthdays is tomorrow. So maybe Friday or Saturday. I know there are certain things going on Friday. I think there's allegedly some sort of debate and then some sort of interview. And I don't, want to run across to be that type of information is out there. Election time, I want you to have access to it and to be able to watch it. So that was the word from Chapelle. You heard it from Chapelle. Harvey, let's get out here and vote. Let's get registered to vote. Let's show these people that when it matters, we show up, we care, we gonna get it right this time. That's what we need to show. Nobody's at fault for what has happened, because you vote and then, it's up to them to do the right thing. If they don't, it's not something that should be charged to you. It's charged to them. But we're gonna get it right this time. Good people just need to vote in good people. I like that what Miss Glennis said. All right, y'all take it easy, be good. Super producer wishes nothing but blessings for your life. Okay? Nothing but blessings for your life. And I'll see you on the next one.
All right.